Here's a list of the top uncommitted prospects in the class of 2025. Still a lot of top-tier talent left on the board. And for more on the recruitments of the guys at the top, we bring in Eric Bossi, a veteran in this space with 25 years of experience in high school recruiting. E-Boss, welcome to the show.
Hey, glad to be here.
All right, let's start with Nate Ament. He is a top 4 prospect in the class, 6'10", ascending right in front of our eyes, tons of touch, tons of skill. I compare him to a little bit. He's got some Zachary Risachet in him, but I will open the floor to you if you have any other comparisons, and then tell us the latest on his recruitment.
Yeah, and with Nate Ament, Zach is not a bad one. I've always kind of compared him a little bit to Michael Porter Jr., who I think if you looked at both of those guys at 17, 18 years old are probably kind of similar type players. So I think we're in the same ballpark with it. With Nate, we're talking about one of the recruitments that is probably going to extend out the longest of anybody in the class of 2025. He hasn't been in any real hurry thus far, and I don't think he's in any real hurry moving forward. We've seen him take official visits to Notre Dame, Tennessee, Louisville, and Texas. He's been to Duke unofficially. He's supposed to be going to Duke officially here soon. He's also got Kansas State lined up to visit officially. But I think if we want to really get into the nitty-gritty of his recruitment, right now, I think we're looking at a probable top 3 of Duke, Tennessee, and Notre Dame. Now, this is obviously pending some other visits, and I'm sure Louisville and Texas would argue they're right there as well as he gets ready to take more visits. But it's a guy that, it's about finding fit and finding space to come in. Obviously, whenever you're going to a place like Duke, there's going to be a bunch of other big-time guys coming in, and they see him as a nice guy to play next to Cam Boozer, the current number 2 player in the country. So there's a fit there. Notre Dame, he would be a true game-changing type guy for them. They did already get 5-star Jalen Harrelson, so it would be pretty unprecedented to see Notre Dame get 2 5-star basketball recruits. And then Tennessee has just been killing it. I know they had the tough loss to Florida the other night, but they've turned into a top 5 program now under Rick Barnes. They're starting to recruit better. We're going to talk about them being heavily involved with another guy a little bit later. So I think we go into these next couple round of visits knowing that it's probably still going to be till a bit after the season and maybe a little bit after the transfer portal starts to shake out. But really keep an eye on Duke, Notre Dame, and Tennessee as we go moving forward with Nate, depending on how some of these visits go.
Koa Peat from Perry High School in Arizona and the Compton Magic 3SSB program is, in my opinion, one of the most decorated players in all of high school basketball. It started when he was a freshman. He led the Adidas circuit in scoring in spring of that year. He's won multiple gold medals with USA Basketball. I know you like the Draymond Green comparison just because of the defensive versatility and the mismatch playmaking in the front court with a still evolving jump shot. But what is the latest on Koa's recruitment?
So the latest here is we seem to be a little bit of an impasse. Koa is somebody that we thought was going to be off the board by the time the first signing period came to an end. But here we are getting near mid-January, and he's still around. Now, technically, he's got a Final 5 of Arizona, Arizona State, Baylor, Houston, and Texas. But really, I think we're looking at a battle between the 2 home state schools. Arizona and Arizona State are really slugging this one out for him and trying to get an edge on here. I think Houston and Duke had been in there, but they took other commitments that kind of got in their way. With Arizona, obviously they've been a power program for quite some time on the West Coast. Ever since Tommy Lloyd arrived from Gonzaga, he has made Koa Peat a priority. They've had him on campus multiple times. Likewise, Arizona State has had him on campus multiple times. This year, they're currently featuring a couple of highly regarded freshmen with Jaden Quaintance and Josan Sanan, so they show that they can really showcase those guys. And Carter Bryant, another highly decorated McDonald's All-American, is getting his shot at Arizona. He's got some ties to Arizona State. His brother plays football there. His sister actually worked in the basketball program for a time. And he's a guy that's got a large extended family in the Phoenix area. So we really don't see him going far from home. And it's just going to come down to which one of these guys sells the most with how the rest of their season goes, because I think he's gone from a guy that would have decided early to we may not see him decide until after the season's over. And like I said, it's neck and neck with Arizona and Arizona State.
At Holy Innocents Episcopal in Georgia, Caleb Wilson is a wiry forward, one of the best and most versatile defenders in the country, some shades of Jonathan Isaac. What do we know about where his process stands?
We know that this one is probably the closest to getting done with Caleb Wilson, and I think we're locked in on two schools right now, Kentucky and North Carolina. Our coworker Travis Branham just had an excellent update on Caleb Wilson, where he says that he thinks North Carolina has pulled in the lead. They've hosted him unofficially and officially. Kentucky has certainly hosted him officially. It's going to be really tight, but he's one who has maintained that he's going to be done by the end of this month. His father reiterated that to me earlier this week. So here we go. It's coming down the wire. North Carolina or Kentucky. We're giving the slight edge to North Carolina right now.
At Eleanor Roosevelt High School in California, and of course, prayers and thoughts to everybody in the LA area with those wildfires going on right now. Brayden Burries is one of the best uncommitted players in the country. I like a Malcolm Brogdon type comp because he's a big two-way power guard, but I know you've got another one, very flattering comp for him. Tell us about that, and then what's the latest in his process?
I think he's got a little bit of high school James Harden to his game with how physical he is and how skilled he is. Now, I'm probably not quite as nuanced a scorer, but certainly a guy who's tough to keep away from the rim and can make shots. His recruitment, he's been to Alabama, he's been to Arizona multiple times, he's been to Oregon, he's been to SMU, he's going to Tennessee in a couple weeks. He says he's still going to visit USC and UCLA. So to wrap it up quickly, he's a guy that's still a long way from deciding, and I would not be surprised if he's the last player to make a decision. If I had to really narrow it down, I like where Arizona and Tennessee are sitting right now as he gets ready to get pitched by the local schools as well. But again, Brayden Burries is going to take his time with the Tennessee visit looming large on January 21st.
All right. Thank you, Bossy, as always. And for the latest recruiting coverage, make sure everyone heads on over to 247sports.com.